So I don't know if that'll actually go, but we'll find out. All right. Live on YouTube. Fun. Oh, this is neat. All right, cool. How's it looking on Instagram?
Looks good.
Okay, cool. So hi, good morning, I think, afternoon. My name is Sydney Williams, and I'm the founder of Hiking My Feelings. And I wrote a book called Hiking My Feelings, Stepping into the Healing Power of Nature. And today I'm excited to announce, whoa. My name is Sydney Williams. Oh, that's annoying. Hang on. I do not need to see that on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, that's how that rolls. All right. So starting over, my name is Sydney, and I am the founder of Hiking My Feelings and the author of the book, Hiking My Feelings, Stepping into the Healing Power of Nature. And today I am excited to share with you some details about our first and biggest fundraising initiative that we have for Hiking My Feelings, and that is our virtual Campfire event series. We are going to be hosting 20 nights of live entertainment around a virtual campfire, and I will get to that in a little bit. Today, I'm going to be sharing a bit more about the event, how you can get involved, our first round of lineup announcements so you can know who's going to be around the campfire and see why you should participate. So some quick backstory in case you aren't familiar with Hiking My Feelings. This started as a hashtag back in 2018. The long story, or the short version of my long story, is hiking changed my life and saved it. So over the course of 2 hikes that I did on the Trans-Catalina Trail across Catalina Island in California, I was able to reestablish the connection between my mind and body, something that had been severed when I was sexually assaulted now 14 years ago. So it was on a training hike in Stonewall Peak, which is about 20 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, that I discovered that thanks to a diabetes diagnosis that I had started hiking my feelings instead of eating and drinking my feelings. So initially, right off the bat, that's where the name comes from, and that is the name of our movement. So at the end of 2018, we did a test speaking tour with REI and did 3 stops in October, and they were amazing. We did a quick format of a Friday night talk and a Saturday morning hike, and they were insane. After the first one, I was like, and this is what I'd like to be doing for the rest of my life, please and thank you. So after the first tour, my husband Barry and I sold everything that we owned, and we moved into a 1998 Chevy van so we could save the money that we did have. We didn't have much, but we wanted to stretch it out as far as we could. And one of the fastest ways to stretch your money is to stop paying lots and lots of money for rent in Southern California. So we moved into the van full time in November 2018, and we scheduled another 3 tour dates with REI in January of last year in 2019. After the first of the 3 dates in January last year, the coordinator that I had been working with at REI was like, hey, you guys bought a van. Like, do you want to go around the country and tell this story at all of our stores? And I was like, yes. And she quickly followed up with, we can't pay you. And I was like, that's fine. I'm scrappy and resourceful. I'll figure it out. And so last year, we toured around the United States in our van, and I spoke with more than 64 different audiences, hosting storytelling events at REI stores, other outdoor organizations. I spoke at the University of Kansas for the women's rowing team, which is where I used to row boats. And we also hosted 69 hikes around the US to encourage people to get off the couch and onto the trail. So while we were on tour last year, we met a ton of amazing people who are some of the most resilient, powerful, brave humans I've ever met in my life, from all walks of life, from all around the country. And one of the things that kept coming up for people, and one of the questions we kept getting asked was, hey, this hike is fun and this work is obviously amazing, but where can we do this for like longer periods of time? Where can we have more exposure to this work? And so Barry and I were like, oh, well, we could like open a retreat center someday. And so we had this someday plan. And last year while we were on the road, I was sitting in Gifford Pinchot National Forest right outside of Mount Rainier National Park. And I was sitting behind the van in my little camp chair in the woods, the little creek behind me. And all of a sudden I busted out Microsoft Excel and made a spreadsheet that outlined like the first year's worth of programming that we would do at our retreat center whenever it opened. And then I started doodling, and I drew like a little like drawing of what I thought the building should look like and how they should be situated. And the someday plan was to tour the country for the next 2 or 3 years, to continue to talk with people, hike as much as we can, just spread the word about what we're doing. We don't have a lot of resources financially to pay for like advertising or something, but we have enough to get around the country and do it jam band style, just like grabbing people off the road and taking them for a hike. So the plan was to do that for the next 2 or 3 years and then open the Hiking My Feelings Wilderness Wellness Center in 2024. We were a week into my book tour when COVID-19 hit. So I was in Joshua Tree with Barry in the van, getting ready to host a digital storytelling event and a hike around Joshua Tree National Park when everything started getting canceled. And that workshop was the first one to get canceled. So I spent the first 2 weeks of quarantine in the fetal position because my book tour was canceled through the US and Canada. We decided to postpone our retreat on Catalina Island that was originally scheduled for March. Now that's in September. And we had been planning this monster fundraiser backpacking trip around Chicago, hiking 220 miles in 20 days, which was supposed to happen May 26th to June 14th. So that was fun. We were really excited about that. And Chicago is where Barry and I met. We have a lot of ties to the city, and we were really looking forward to spending that time with people. And as it turns out, that's not going to happen because we can't go camp in Chicago right now. We can't go hike around Chicago right now. So instead of driving out there and doing this by ourselves and being sad, we decided to host a virtual campfire event instead. So every day that we would have been on the trail, we're going to have a little virtual campfire. And I'm going to start with a reading of the book. And then I'm going to introduce the guest of the day that their work ties into the themes from that chapter. So we've got therapists, we've got speakers, we've got outdoor enthusiasts, we've got some legendary hikers, and I'll tell you more about who's going to be joining us soon. But in general, it's probably going to be the most badass campfire you've ever been to, in that we're just going to be like, the whole vibe is just like what we would be doing if we were hiking. Instead of being quarantined, we'd be sitting around the campfire. If we got lucky, maybe somebody had like a little ukulele or some kind of instrument and maybe they wanted to sing. But campfires in general, I love more than anything. It's one of my favorite parts of spending time outside, especially when we're camping, and just as a tool for connection when we're so stuck where we are and all we have are screens. I've heard a lot about Zoom fatigue. I've heard a lot of people talking about just being really over these different meetings that they're doing for work and everything else. But I find that when you set an intention for the time that you're about to spend, it's a lot more productive and a lot more fruitful. So what we're doing is hosting the virtual campfire for community connection, to hold space, and to raise money for the Hiking My Feelings Wilderness Wellness Center. So a little bit about where I'm at today. I am sitting at the Moon Tower. I'm at the Reggae Ranch, which is on 9 acres in the Cuyamaca Mountains. We're in Julian, California. Our friends Sue and Dustin bought this property last year, and they are dedicating this space as a retreat for artists locally and not local, to stop in and just have a break from city life, from being on tour. If they need a place to come create music, they're welcome to come here. And it's kind of funny how it all turned out. When Barry and I were thinking about where we wanted to build a retreat center and how we wanted to do it, we had a short list of like non-negotiables. We wanted to be within 90 minutes of a major metropolitan airport. We wanted to be somewhere with like trees, preferably in the mountains. If it's close to water, even better. And we wanted to have trails on property. And if there weren't trails on property, we'd like to be somewhere close to like some pretty iconic hikes. So we had started looking around the country once we decided that we wanted to do this. Now, everywhere we were going around the country last year, we were like, oh, like, what's the energy like here? Do we like this? Could we build a retreat center here? And one of the cool things that happened when we got back from our canceled tour this year was, after I was done being in the fetal position for 2 weeks, I went for a walk with Sue up to the other side of the property. We go up and over the mountain, watch like the birds and check out all the beautiful views. And on the way back, she pointed out this flat spot off to the side of the trail. And she was like, hey, that could be a cool place for you to build something. It's like super casual. And I was like, does she mean like the retreat center, or does she mean like a place for me to put a tent when I'm feeling like I don't want to be in the van? Like, what are we talking about here? So Barry and I had been thinking about like where we want to build stuff. What do we want to do? How are we going to transition our business as Hiking My Feelings to help as many people as we can in this new world that we're living in? And also, we're not going to wait around until we can do what we were doing. We want to build the world that we want to live in, and we want to build it right now. So over the course of the next couple weeks after that, like the seed was planted and it started to like infiltrate my brain. And I was like, what if we like started the retreat center here, as if this was a totally original idea that hadn't been suggested by somebody else already. And we talked to Sue and Dustin and they were like, yeah, whatever you need, you guys, like when we said you have a home base when you're not touring, we meant that. You're welcome here. If you guys want to build here, we'd love to have you. So this is the home, the future home of the Hiking My Feelings Wilderness Wellness Center. We're up over on the other side of the mountain with a great view of the valley behind me here. And our vision for this space and our first phase of construction and what we're raising money for now is the hub of the community center. So what we're doing is we're building a big 32-foot by 32-foot deck. And on top of that, we're putting a 24-foot geodesic dome. And we picked the dome structure for a lot of reasons. The primary one being in this particular valley, in these mountains, the winds can get up to like 100 miles an hour. When we got back from the tour last year, before we left for the 2020 tour, we had winds topping out at 106 miles per hour. So for a structure to be up on the mountain without a lot of shelter, it needs to be pretty sturdy. And geodesic domes are one of the most sturdy structures you can have. So we're really excited about it for that reason. The sacred geometry angle of it is incredibly enticing, and also just getting out of the box and actually living in a circle is going to be incredible. So the dome serves as the hub for all of our programming. So that's where we'll do all of our online stuff. Like that's where we'll do the work from and do all our filming from. It will also serve as the main building for our retreats, our in-person workshops, and as base camp for all of our group hikes and backpacking trips. So on the property, we have a trail that goes into BLM land. So where we are now, we're on 9 acres, and that's surrounded by recommended wilderness, both Cleveland National Forest and Cuyamaca Rancho State Park, and BLM land. So we won't ever have neighbors, and we can go into that land whenever we want because it's all publicly managed and stuff like that. So we are really excited about the trails that we're developing from the property down into the recommended wilderness. And then we are also within like a stone's throw of some of the most iconic hikes here in San Diego. So if you've heard of Three Sisters Falls, that's 3.5 miles down the road right behind me. So we can do that as an extra long trip, as a day hike. If you walk from the ranch down to Three Sisters to the actual falls and do the hike and come back, it's around 14-15 miles. So that's a good big long day hike. The hike itself, if we want to drive down and park at the trailhead, is about 6 miles. And then there's also a hike there that's a little bit shorter called Eagle Peak, and that's about 2 miles. Down the road, about 20 minutes, we have Stonewall Peak. Cuyamaca is on the other side of my computer and phone, depending on which one you're watching from. And there's an 18-mile backpacking loop that goes from Stonewall to Cuyamaca and back. So that could be like a 2-day backpacking trip as well. So we're really stoked about this location. It kind of just fell in our lap, and we are just over the moon that Sue and Dustin are welcoming us here, and that we're able to share this space with them and further their mission of supporting artists and just building this beautiful space where people from everywhere can come and just retreat into nature and reconnect with themselves. So more about the event. It's 20 nights. It starts May 26th. It goes through June 14th. We have each night, the flow goes something like this. I like to keep myself on a schedule because God knows I could talk to all of these guests for hours. So the loose flow of the event is I start with a welcome and a toast to you, our beautiful donors who share the vision that we are trying to create in this world. And then I read a chapter from my book. The whole thing in Chicago was I wanted to do a walking book tour. So as we were hiking, I was planning on reading the chapter in the morning for Instagram and Facebook and everybody anyway. And that part continues. So I will be reading a chapter from the book every day. And the next guest that I bring on will be somebody whose work, art, or lived experience ties into the themes of that chapter. So once we get done with the campfire chat with our special guests, and we have a performance of some sort, we have musicians, we have a chef, we have a spoken word artist, we have an embodiment like dancing, singing, spoken word performance, comedians, and live art. And I think there's more that I might be forgetting, but in general, there's some kind of live performance of some kind, something to entertain everybody, bring our spirits up, bring us all together. And then we're really excited to introduce members of the Hiking My Feelings family to you. So you can get to know some of the people that we've met on the road or online through this work. that have just been really instrumental in helping us get this movement going and sustaining our organization. So we're really excited to introduce you to members of our community, and then I'll send you off with like a little positive note to think about before you go sleepy. So some of the people that we have, our first round of announcements, I'm really excited to share this with you. So each round of announcements, we have like some legendary people in their own specific world. So as far as like legendary outdoors people, my first guest of the entire event is going to be Will Acuna Robinson. If you're not familiar, Acuna is a legendary long distance hiker. He's a former US military veteran, and he hikes to manage his PTSD. He has hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, the Appalachian Trail. Last year he did the Continental Divide, and this year he was on schedule to do the North Country Trail, but COVID kind of like ripped that plane out from underneath him. But he's the first African-American male hiker to earn the title of Triple Crown. And he's so humble and one of the most incredible humans we met on tour. We got to meet him when we were passing through Louisiana last year, and we went for a little hike through the bayou and saw like his happy place. And it was just like, when you meet people and you're like, these are my family, like Will feels like that to us. So we're really excited to have Will on for the first episode. We also have a wonderful musical performance by a woman named Kreider. And I met Chloe at the Shine event that I did. It was the last speaking event that I did before COVID hit, and she moved me to tears. I gave a quick 15-minute version of my talk, which if you know me, you know what a legendary feat that was to condense that into 15 minutes. And Chloe was up next, and I tell you what, like her voice blew my mind and moved me to tears after I got done speaking. So I'm really stoked to have her joining us. And our first Hiking My Feelings family member that we're going to be introducing is my homegirl, Ash, at Salty Millennial on Instagram. She's also the founder of Go Gallivanting. Ash was one of the first people to stand up, or Ash was the first person to ask a question at my first RAI talk. And the question she asked was about me leaving my legacy. And I was just like, you ask the tough ones, Ash, like what's the deal? So I'm excited to maybe ask Ash some tough questions. And let's see, who else do we have? We have Linda Rubin, that's Adam's mom. So if you've read my story, chapter 1 is called You Only Get So Many Sunsets, and it is all about all the people that I lost along the way in my life. And Adam was kind of the beginning of the end for me as far as my grief cycle goes. Spoiler alert, in the 4 years that I was skydiving, 23 of my friends passed away. And Adam was not the first of my friends to pass away, but he was the first friend that was like a brother to me. Like he was my person. He was like a son to Barry. Barry used to teach people how to skydive. He's got Barry's kids all over the US and all over the world now. He was one of ours, and he moved from Illinois. We taught him how to skydive in Illinois. He moved out to California with us, or shortly after we did, and he stayed with us for a while he was getting on his feet here. And he passed away on a base jumping trip on August 1st, 2014. And I'm really excited to have his mom, Linda, joining me. She's like a second mother to me. Every time I talk to her, I just feel uplifted and just wonderful. So I'm really excited for you to meet her as well. We also have a musical performance from a local band called Sensi Trails, and they are the most fun newer band that I have met ever. Like we went up to Tahoe to see them last year when we were on tour. Our tours intersected. They were playing a show in South Lake, and we went hiking around Tahoe with them, and it was just so much fun. And they have this one song that I'm hoping that they'll play, and it's called Just Livin', and it's like my anthem when I'm feeling good and like life is just like cruising. Just Livin' is like so my jam. So really excited to have Sensi Trails joining us. The next member of the Hiking My Feelings family that I'm going to be introducing is Christine Sherinian. So Christine is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. She is just like the light of my life, and I absolutely adore her. And she also has attempted the Trans-Catalina Trail. So I'm really excited to talk to her about her experience and see what she would do differently, what she would do the same. And I'm sure that's just going to be a really fun conversation. We also have Hannah Betts, who is a world champion skydiver. She was also one of my skydiving coaches when I was still jumping. And she was definitely one of my mentors in the sport. And her life story is just insane. Like she grew up in the UK. She was a cop, and then she was a teacher, I think. And then she started jumping out of planes professionally. And now she's a stunt woman in Hollywood. So if you've seen like Agents of Shield, and like her resume is like a mile long, but she's done some incredible stunt work in the last 5-6 years. So I'm really excited to chat with Hannah as well. Jay Reddy, who is the founder of the Outer Belt Alliance. The Outer Belt Alliance is the organization that manages the Chicago Outer Belt, which is the trail that we were going to hike in Chicago. And we still plan to, whenever we can get out and go, we're going to go make this backpacking trip happen. But the Outer Belt Alliance and the Outer Belt itself is a connection of existing pedestrian walkways, existing trail systems, some of the Cook County Forest Preserves, and some natural spaces. So it makes a 220-mile loop that goes around the city. It starts at Buckingham Fountain and then goes all the way down like through Chicago Heights, up the Des Plaines River Trail on the west side of the city, back over the top in the north around Evanston, and then back down Lakeshore. So when we can make that happen, we are really excited to do that. And so Jay's going to be joining us. We also have Tyler from Solomon joining us. The chapter that I'm reading when Tyler's coming on is all about how I just put on hiking boots and rolled on to this wonderful trail called the Trans-Catalina Trail with no training whatsoever, and I didn't even break in my boots, and it was just a total disaster. So Tyler's going to tell us how to not do that and how to pick out shoes that fit your feet. And then we also have Mindy and Tiffany Lockhart, who Mindy is a, excuse me, she's an ambassador for the Outdoor Journal Tour. Her and Tiffany live up in Seattle, and we co-hosted a hike with them when we were in Seattle last year. And I tell you what, these women are just two incredible human beings that are just on a mission to make the world a better place, much like we are. And I'm really excited to have some conversations with them. Our next musical guest that I'm announcing today is our friend Brendan Clemente. So Brendan actually just released a song a couple weeks ago, produced by Johnny Cosmic on the Ineffable record label. It's his first single, like that's that big of a deal, and it's legendary. Like I was sitting down in the pavilion here at the Reggae Ranch when we heard it, and my eyes like started leaking. It was so tragic, but also so amazing. So I'm really excited to have Brendan here. He's on a, like, I feel like our paths are very similar, except I'm not a musician, but we're both like just going for this dream of doing it. It was me writing the book, him producing music. And it's just fun to watch him rise and to see how his community is supporting him and just rallying around him to get his music out there. So I'm really excited to have Brendan on. Hiking My Feelings family member Vicky Otero is also coming. And then we have our first spoken word artist is Doc Peace. And I met Doc Peace also at the Shine event that I did in Orange County before COVID canceled everything. She's local to San Diego. She's a spoken word artist. She's also a doctor, and she works in the pharmacy every once in a while for funsies, but she is a powerhouse, and I am so excited for you to meet her. The flow that she's going to be doing is called Mirror Face, and it's about the face that we show in the mirror and how we put these faces on, especially as women, of what we think people want to see. And it's like, what do we actually look like when we don't wear the face that we put on in the mirror? Because we all like smile and do our own mirror face. I'm butchering this, but her flow is nuts and it's really good. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that. My friend Kat Humpus, my BFF, sister from another mister, is going to be chatting with us as well. She is a chef. She trained at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris. She opened Bobo. If you're local to San Diego and you love Brussels sprouts, she's the reason why you love Brussels sprouts. So Kat's going to be doing a little cooking demo for us so we can learn how to make some trail snacks. And we're also going to be talking about the communication strategies we use in our friendship and how we talk to each other and talk about each other and around each other, to like dream as big as we possibly can and support each other in those dreams. So up after that, we have Aaron Strout, who is on our board of directors. He is the only person on the board of directors that is not a Williams. And we're really excited to have him on. That particular Campfire Chat is going to be about mentorship. And back in 2011, Aaron and I spoke at South by Southwest Interactive Conference in Austin, Texas, about road rules for mentoring, like what's appropriate, what's not, how do you find one, how do you contribute to the relationship. So I'm really excited to have Aaron on to talk about mentoring and how important it is and what he's doing at his organization. He's the chief marketing officer at W2O Group, which is the marketing firm where I used to work, and just hear about all the initiatives that they have going on and how we can find mentors in all aspects of our life, not just professionally. And we also have Carlos from Everyone's Hike. Everyone's Hike is a really cool organization that started in LA. He has since relocated to Northern California, but he created these iconic hikes around LA where he takes these groups, and I'm talking like hundreds of people, and they all have a theme. So there's like a Dodger hike and everybody wears Dodger blue. There's a neon hike and everybody wears neon and like glow sticks and stuff like that, and they hike at night. Like, some of the gatherings that he's created are just so cool, and I'm really excited to talk to him about building community around hiking and how to hike with that many people, because like I have never hiked with that many people in my life, and I'm really interested to hear about how it grew and what he has as his vision for the future for his organization. And then we also have, I wish I had a drum roll because I'm so excited about this one. So Dr. Thema, yes, the Dr. Thema, like at Dr. Thema on Twitter and Instagram. Thema Davis Bryant is a licensed psychologist. He's also an ordained minister and a sacred artist. And if you guys if you haven't gotten familiar with her yet, just go. Like, her tweets are medicine for the soul, and the stuff that she talks about when it comes to trauma, especially around sexual violence, like I'm so excited to talk to her about the resources that are available for survivors of sexual assault and how we can move through this stuff and heal ourselves. She is just, I mean, like, I can't even read her bio, but if you go to drthema.com, it's literally this long, and it's like, she spoke at the UN. She's like been an advocate for women and girls all over the world. And it's just like, she is so legendary. And the work that she does, especially regarding therapy for marginalized communities, is like the stuff dreams are made of. So I'm really excited to have Dr. Thema here for a conversation about trauma and recovering from that. And to wrap up that episode, we're doing a Hiking My Feelings family first episode. So I'm bringing in 4 people who were like the first to do something pretty pivotal as it pertains to Hiking My Feelings. So we're bringing in my girl Becca, who was the first person other than me to use the Hiking My Feelings hashtag. This is back in 2018. I had posted like, I'm hiking my feelings. This is my new like container for experiencing and understanding my trauma. And I saw like this picture of this woman with her gorgeous dogs, and it was tagged Hiking My Feelings, because it was like, there were like 3 or 4 posts that were like my posts, and then this one that wasn't mine. And I was like, oh my God, somebody else is hiking their feelings. This is crazy. And it just felt like so validating that somebody else would identify with it and then use that hashtag. So Becca's going to be on. We also have Pete Olson joining us, and Pete is half of Travis and Pete. They were the first podcast that I was on, and Pete was the first person to ask me like, so what is the process for Hiking My Feelings? After I was on their podcast interview, right before we started the tour, we back in 2018, we went out for a hike, and he was like, so this is cool. Like, how do you do it? What's the process? And I was like, well, it's just like, it's so organic. Like, there's not really a process. You just like hike. And if you feel feelings, then it's fine. And he's like bullshit. There's a process, and you should probably identify it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I like went back over my notes, and I was like, okay, so what did I do? And like, what was the thing that made this like something I could like pass on to other people so they could benefit from it? So I'm bringing in Pete because like without him asking that question, I don't know if I'd be sitting right here today. And then we also have Ash, who was the first one to ask the question at my first talk, and then Laura, who was the first person to buy my book. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with some of the first Hiking My Feelings family members that were just like pivotal people in our journey. And to round out today's announcements, my improv teacher, Gary Ware, is going to be joining us. So he is the founder of an organization called Breakthrough Play. He's also an improviser. He goes all over, well, prior to COVID, he was going all over the country and all over the world. He was doing stuff in Australia, just teaching people how to play and how that can help your life. The principles that I learned through Gary via improv radically changed the way that I see myself and the way I move through the world and the way I do business. So I'm really excited for Gary to come and share his wisdom with us. He's like a little baby Yoda, and I'm so excited. And then maybe the performance that I'm most excited about, oh my God. So I met a wonderful man on tour last year who also happens to be dabbling in doing drag. And Miss Buffy Wild will be joining us for some drag queen tarot on the last day of the Hiking My Feelings campfire to like do a sweet spread for like, what is the future of the Hiking My Feelings Wilderness Wellness Center? And I'm so excited. You guys, I can't even. So if you haven't met Buffy yet, and if you haven't met Josh yet, Josh was the first person we profiled for the Hiking My Feelings family series on our website. So you can go check that out and like get a little sneak peek about Josh. He will be joining us in the different campfire sessions as well, but I'm really excited for Buffy to be joining us and blessing us all with her tarot goodness. And then to round it out, two really pivotal members of the Hiking My Feelings community who have just shown up for us in ways that I would probably cry if I tried to articulate right now in like a sentence. But Jess Fiedler and Sue Shaw will be joining us for the last episode. Jess has just launched her own podcast called Speak Your Truth. And I listened to one of her interviews and she asked like some of the most dope questions. So I asked her if she could interview me and then I would interview her as part of the Hiking My Feelings family feature. And then Sue, obviously her and her husband own this beautiful property where we're going to be building the Hiking My Feelings Wilderness Wellness Center. So obviously I want to talk to Sue about like her vision for this space and what she wants to do with the Reggae Ranch. So that's our first lineup announcement. We're going to be making another announcement next Tuesday on the 12th and the following Tuesday on the 19th. And then the event starts the Tuesday after that on the 26th. So how can you get involved? Great question. We have 3 different passes available for this event. If you just want to get like a day pass, if you don't want to come to all of them, if there's like one person that you really want to see, day passes are $20. We also have an all access pass, which is $100, and that gets you into every campfire event, all 20. And you get to ask questions in the Q&A. You're eligible to win prizes from our sponsors. And then if you donate $250 or more, that gets you the VIP pass. And the first 20 people to donate $250 or more are going to get our virtual Campfire Kit, which I'm so excited about. So I know we're all quarantined. I know not everybody lives on big plots of land where you can like actually have a fire. I know some people are in apartments, some people don't even have a balcony. So our virtual Campfire Kit includes a candle so you can have your own little fire. And the candle is from Sway. It's veteran owned and operated by our friend Jason. He's in Carlsbad. And Sway candles are all natural, organic, vegan. And it's the wick is a wood burning wick and it crackles. So it sounds like a campfire. And the scent is signature blended just for us. And it smells like you're hiking through like a coastal forest. And it is legit one of my favorite scents in the whole world. I opened it up and I was like, yeah, like we're doing this. This is amazing. So if you can't get out, if you miss the smell of nature, if you miss the sound of a campfire, you get this little like crackly candle so you can have your own little campfire. And then for like to keep the campfire theme going, we also have s'mores print Kula cloths. So if you aren't familiar with Kula cloths, it's the first of its kind, intentionally designed, the most like badass pea towel you've ever had ever. If you're in the backcountry and you're looking for something to wipe with, number one, not number two, Kula cloth is where it's at. The front side is it's waterproof, so you don't get your hand wet when you wipe. And the side that you actually wipe with is has like silver thread in it, which is antimicrobial. It doesn't stink. It's a really good alternative, so you can leave no trace. Don't bring your toilet paper on your backpacking trip. And if we come across another toilet paper shortage, then you'll be set. So Kula cloth is in there. We also have some of the white sage spray from the Reggae Ranch. So all around us, we're surrounded by white sage bushes and quartzite crystal. And Sue, who owns the Reggae Ranch, she just started offering these white sage sprays, and legit, it smells like you're hiking across Catalina Island. There is a chapter of my book called Hot Sage, and it's named after the smell in the afternoon on the island when the sun is beating down on the sage plants. It just releases the aroma of fresh sage, and that's what the entire island smells like when you're hiking, and that's what this smells like in a bottle. So it's quartzite crystal and white sage sustainably harvested right here at the ranch. And then she's offering a special moon drenched version that's going to be charged with the lunar cycle, because this upcoming full moon this Thursday is the flower moon. And so we're putting everything out. We're charging all of it with all the good moon drenched vibes and the sun drenched vibes of the Reggae Ranch. We also have a glow facial oil from Spell Botanicals. And Spell Botanicals was founded by Melanie Wassman. Her husband is the lead singer of Pepper. You may know him. His name's Kaleo. They are our co-hosts for a retreat in September. And she founded a skincare company called Spell Botanicals. And so we're going to be including the glow facial oil. It's like a nice lightweight facial moisturizer that you can use in the morning. And then we also have a signed copy of the book. And I've got these little bookmarks. They're limited edition ribbon bookmarks that we had printed. And I'll tell the whole backstory on that at another time because it gets really involved. But the cool thing is it's a tie-in from our skydiving life into our new like hiking world. What else is in there? Did I get? Oh, and Nathan Feinstein, the lead singer from Ayaterra, sells crystals and he hand wraps pendants. So we got a bunch of crystal pendants. He like picked out the crystals himself, hand wrapped it with 100% love, like all of the good Ayaterra, Juju, reggae vibes into these crystals, so that the virtual campfire kit also comes with a pendant for you as well. I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting, but it's all on the website. And if you are interested in donating more than $250, we are going to require bigger donations to get to where we want to go. I want to like Bernie Sanders the hell out of this and raise like a bunch of money with a bunch of donors, just like 20 bucks at a time. I'm down for that. And also being realistic, to build a retreat center, we're going to need bigger donors. So if you are somebody who's looking to donate to a cause you can get behind, if you're looking to support survivors of sexual assault, if you're interested in diabetes prevention and management, those are the two primary audiences that we focus on. We also focus on, obviously, the mind-body connection, mindfulness, mental health. Those are our 3 lanes that we plan. So if those are causes that you care about and you're looking for somewhere to put your money and really just help us build the world that we want to live in, there is a button underneath all the access passes where you can enter your own amount. So if it is more than $250, you can determine that there and do that yourself. So the vision is a beautiful retreat center. With your help, you can help us make this happen. This is a new chapter of our story. You can help us write it. And I'll see if we have any questions. Are there any questions? No? Okay, cool. Well, then thank you so much for watching. You can go to hikingmyfeelings.org/campfire. That's where you can make your donation, get signed up. You can see who's of the guests that I introduced. You can see what days that they fall on. And then if you want to, you can look through and see like the other dates that we'll be doing in the announcements. So we have it written out like when we're announcing the next rounds of guests. So that's next Tuesday on the 12th. And again, the following Tuesday on the 19th, both at noon. We'll be doing the same thing that we are here, just kind of announcing it here for everybody to hear. And let me just check and see if I have any questions here. Nope, no questions on Zoom, no questions on Instagram. Okay, well then thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know that this world is crazy. I hope you're taking care of yourself. If you can, get outside, get some sunshine, get some fresh air. And I was telling we have a group called Read and Reflect that we've been doing on Sundays, and we're wrapping that up because we're getting ready to launch something new. P.S. Spoiler alert, it's coming. You're going to love it. But we were talking on Sunday, and like the birds are just so chatty. And I was doing a live with the American Diabetes Association after the group that I was talking with. And I was like, you know what? If I can hear the birds, I'm never alone. And I felt kind of like Cinderella when I said that. But I want to offer that to you today. So if you're feeling like you need a little nature in your life, like just see if you can stick your head outside and listen for some birds. Because if you can, it's a beautiful song to hear. And if you can't, if there's like all you hear is city noise and stuff like that, if you go to Hiking My Feelings on Instagram, we have a highlight that's called 1 Minute to Yourself. And we've just started recording nature sounds out here at the ranch for a minute. So you can like watch the sunset, listen to the birds, take some time to breathe and just like think about life. So that's all I got. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you around the campfire. I'm really looking forward to it. And if you guys have any questions, if you've got like guest requests, if you're watching this and you want to be on it and I haven't invited you because I forgot about you or I don't know who you are yet, please introduce yourself. We can always make room for more people. So thank you so much and we'll see you around the campfire. Peace.